Hey guys, Kenny Duncan Jr. back with the Coin Shop Podcast, volume number 9. Today we have a great episode for you. We've got Miles Standish in the house one more time to talk about his journey to Austin, Texas, and how he, basically the last 20 years of his grading experience and how he went and was vice president of 2 of the largest grading companies. And he'll give us a little bit of a story and some backstory of how he got there. Matt's going to share with us some of the buys of the week. We'll talk a little bit about some security. We'll talk a little bit about scams, and we'll go over some counterfeits that I incurred this week on the counter. So stay tuned. The Coin Shop Podcast coming to you soon. Thank you so much. And Junior, along with my brother, Matthew Duncan Jr., not Junior, Matthew Duncan.
Just Matthew Duncan.
On his own.
One and only.
Well, no, the one and only is right here.
Oh, come on.
Is our main man, Miles Standish, coming back and just hanging out.
It's only a 2-hour and 44-minute drive.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here. Yeah. I'm happy to be here on the Coin Shop Podcast.
Hanging out.
Exactly.
We've normally kind of like tried to get you to slip up and tell us some cool grading secrets, but we're still going to try to do that. But we also just, let's kind of, talk a little bit about what we've been doing for the last couple of weeks. We've been not as dedicated to the podcast as we should be. Yeah. We've had life going on, and it's been just a crazy hectic. If you're in the business, and if you're in the gold and silver business and the rare coin business, then I'm sure you're not. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. It's that it's been pretty insane.
Yeah, phones have been ringing, stores been busy.
There just hasn't been a lot of opportunity.
The demand for both at the same time has never been greater.
No.
Yeah.
Period. We're at the epitome of excellence and busyness in both rare coins, modern coins, gold and silver bullion.
When the APs are selling gold eagles with 100 ounce allotments, when you can only buy a maximum allotment of gold eagles at a time.
That tells you something.
A little bit, yeah. A little scary, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but it's opened up the world for production to fill the need. So this is probably a time where the American Gold Eagles, which are so popular in this country, aren't really readily available.
Yeah.
Okay. It's going to open up opportunities for other countries.
It's still hard to sell some of those other countries, though. Especially in the U.S., with the U.S. being with the United States Eagles and their reporting requirements. Yeah. That's why they're so sought after, from what we hear from our customers.
But you can sell Maples, Cougarans, Philharmonics, things like that.
Philharmonics, you have the same requirements. Eagles. So.
Phil's, but again, a tougher coin to sell.
Tougher coin.
Thinner millimeter. Just
Austria
doesn't have the same feeling as a nice dense. Even though they're the same weight, they're centered obviously a little bit different. Yeah. And they're balanced different.
And the premium's less.
And
eventually the public is going to learn that they need to buy things with lower premiums.
I agree.
To get the most, the bottom line is, why do you buy gold? To stack the most you can.
Right. Yeah.
So why not buy the low premium items to stack the most you can? Philharmonics, as an example, we're talking about them. They're widely accepted. Yeah. Okay. There's nothing wrong with Philharmonics. They're just different than Eagles. But if they're less and you can buy more gold, what do you want? I want more gold.
Yeah. More gold. You can always trade back.
I was going to say that. Right. One of the things we've done a lot with customers is we'll tell them, because they come in so gold eagle oriented, and it's like, okay, hold on, I've got a better idea. We'll get you to that gold eagle, but let's buy something cheap now to lock in
the actual gold.
What you think is a good gold price. This customer likes the entry point. Let's sell him something cheap, low premium. And then we'll buy it back, and we'll get you into that gold eagle when the premiums start to calm down a little bit, which they will.
Yeah, but when you can't buy 100 ounces of gold eagles, when you can't buy them, why not buy a low premium item like 3 kilo bars?
Well, the problem with doing that is the reporting of it. In some cases, some people just don't necessarily want to have to. When you sell that kilo, then you've got to fill out
How about if I exchange it with you for 100 Eagles later?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
If we take if that comes in on the front side, it's got to be notated and documented.
Okay. Well, then there's reasons.
So it's
I personally don't have a problem with whatever I have in my gold and silver stash ever reporting. I don't have a problem with it.
And it's crazy to me that people put so much emphasis on doing so.
That, yeah.
It's good marketing. They've been marketed that way. They love privacy.
Yeah. No,
But we talk about privacy, but it's like I could just give me somebody's name and I can put it in the internet and I can find out where they live.
Yeah. Especially if they're
they don't even protect their own personal privacy of where they live.
Yeah.
I think people put too much emphasis on the paperwork, 8300s, 1099s, all this
Still
stuff.
the
wants to
paperwork
find
out.
They'll find out.
Nothing's under the radar. We've got the best spy device the world has ever made.
Yeah.
On a human being is a cell phone.
It's within 5 feet of you at all times.
Yeah. And a satellite can pick you up on a sandy beach.
Do you think it matters if the location's turned on or off? Do you think it truly matters?
No. No. But that's how I think.
Yeah. No, I mean, I guess I don't.
I think we've learned that in a lot of some of the programs we've watched in the last 6 months to 3 years.
Yeah.
That
news segments.
Yeah. That you can call yourself a conspiracy theorist or not. You turn off your location. Believe me, you haven't turned off your location.
Yeah.
You don't think NSA doesn't follow people that way?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're talking numismatics.
Hey, you guys get the tinfoil hats.
Exactly.
It's time.
Tinfoil hour. That's right. We're wrapping our Lincoln Penny rolls in tinfoil.
I actually
burying them in the backyard.
I had a customer today that came and picked up monster boxes of Silver Eagles, and she brought tinfoil. She wanted me to help her wrap the boxes with tinfoil.
So I'm sorry, but
So
is she burying them?
Because she buries them. And she says
pick them up on the metal detector.
Yeah, it picks. Yeah, it help it. Yeah. Wow. I was like, whoa.
I want to pay somebody $100 who's somebody that's watching the podcast that had a customer come in, buy Silver Eagle boxes and wanted them wrapped in tinfoil.
That's
it happens.
That's
I'm
amazing.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, if you do have that, please like and subscribe and share your story in the comments because I would love to hear it and maybe we can even bring it up next time. Let's be a little bit more interactive on the show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you got
something I think we should do, speaking of like and subscribe, I think that anybody that comes on the podcast and they like and subscribe and link 3 friends that you have a weekly drawing and give them away one of my Silver Eagle books.
Okay.
Why not?
Cool. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. A friend gets signed up and once a week or once a podcast, you guys ship out a free Silver Eagle book.
Paulie, can we do that? All right, cool. We got a yes, sir.
Paul and the techno genius Paul says we can do it. I think it's a great way for best-selling book of all time on an individual coin series get in the hands of more people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know how we feel about that. We get coins in people's hands. Obviously, literature, good literature, not. The books are well written. The images are great. The information's great. Obviously, you're great. Putting that
and it's not written. It's not printed on roll form yet,
right? Speaking of which, I guess we could talk about. Can we talk about the Standish Foundation charity event we went to?
Absolutely, you guys are great supporters. A lot of people came.
No, that was really cool.
I think we had 95 people show up in Austin, Texas.
Yeah,
Top Golf.
It was awesome.
Lots of fun auction items. Lots of great fundraising for charity. It was nearly $100,000 raised by donors and sponsors. U.S. Coins, a few other coin companies that were sponsors of the event were really great.
Rudy T.
Rudy
Tomjanovich.
He's a great
one of the
guy.
great Hall of Famers. Great
guy.
Great connection to Houston, of course, for you guys.
I asked him if he'd come on the podcast. He said yes.
Oh, he absolutely would. Rudy's a peach.
Yeah.
He absolutely will. He's a neighbor. And Rudy loves the foundation and enjoyed meeting the 3 Duncan brothers at the event and talking basketball and Houston basketball and the great history that he left his mark on Houston basketball with the Rockets. Was it 2 back to back, right?
Back
Back to back.
Yeah.
Makes the magic.
Rudy Tomjanovich, one of the great Hall of Famers who went into the Hall of Fame in the pandemic year. I believe it was 2020 or 2021, went into the NBA.
The what?
Basketball. Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame.
During the what?
Pandemic.
Oh, okay.
Pandemic.
I almost thought you said pandemic.
The planned out pandemic. Okay.
Sorry.
But yeah, Rudy's super
not
guy,
sorry.
and it was a great event. People from all over the country showed up, and I think people just enjoyed the fact getting together, having fun.
There was a company, and I guess just for privacy concerns, I won't say their name, but let me tell you, they came out in droves.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It was a pretty big showing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I didn't
They were
know there
very
was that many people there till
Well,
I walked out. And
that was just the people that came.
Yeah.
What about all the people that stayed home and working?
yeah,
Exactly.
right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it was a great show.
Wow.
Yeah, that
It was
wild.
it was an impressive
Shocked.
showing.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
shocked
it was.
too.
No, it was. I get invited to stuff like that. I just a lot of times politely decline. And it's more of like a family issue. Like I like to hang out with my
Well, you
kids.
did have to drive 2.5 hours to come to a charity event, and some people don't do that. But you guys stepped up.
But I don't
You guys
drive
were sponsors.
10
My wife
minutes.
Andy, who's run the Standish Foundation for Children for over 13 years now plus, and her and her board worked their tail off to do stuff like that to raise money to help kids.
That was the first time I had ever seen some of the stuff in action, and I'm gonna tell you, I was impressed.
Nice.
I thought it was, well done. Everyone I met from the foundation seemed to be, the heart was in the right place, motivation was in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
Everything just felt very comfortable. Sometimes when and the reason I don't go to them is because sometimes I really get a bad feeling.
Yeah.
I've been to a couple at the
Changes your-
Houstonian.
yeah.
Here and there, people have invited me to some random ones, and I've gone just kind of to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'd much rather be watching Disney with my kids
Yeah.
or throwing the baseball with my kids. But I enjoyed.
Yeah, I got a good feeling,
Deal.
good-
And we even
people.
had some stackers show
Right.
up. Chris from Illinois, Napstead.
Nipstead, that's
he,
right, yeah.
he came down from Illinois. There was
Yeah.
a lot of guys, that are on social media that came to that event to support it, and
Yeah.
it was really good.
That's right. He was
was
supposed to come in here.
He was supposed to come
Hey, you lied to me.
in. Lied to us.
You lied to us. I'm not.
He's probably going to tell you he's got another trip to come down.
Yeah, I'm not.
He's pretty
I'm
good
not
for that.
forgetting
He's
it.
pretty good for that. He came through on showing up for the event, but it was great to see him. But there was just a lot of people there, that came from, many, many states
All
of
over.
the union.
Yeah.
Absolutely. From Hawaii, even people came from.
Yeah, no, definitely great turnout, great event. I thought Rudy T was it was funny. It was so cool. Okay, so, and I don't want to burn, too much time on this, but I was probably 10, 11, 12 in that age group, and the Rockets had just won their first championship. They were at Sharpstown Mall, and we had a coin shop in Sharpstown Mall at the time, and I had my basketball, and I stood in line, and it was Rudy and Olajuwon and I want to say Kenny Smith,
It's quite a lineup.
Carl Herrera. Who else was there?
Was Barkley
Mario
there?
Ellie? No, this Barkley was
This
the
before.
next. Yeah,
Oh,
Barkley was
next
after.
year. Okay.
Yeah, Rudy talked about that mall that he knew very well.
It was funny. And
I
he
watched that
remembered-
conversation.
Yeah, and it was so cool because, at that time, obviously, I'm a fan, a huge fan. I'm a diehard Rockets fan. And it's so, kind of surreal to here I am talking to the head coach who basically, leads these guys.
Guided that team to
They
two
were a
championships.
6 seed.
Were they 6 seed?
They
when
were
won?
6 seed.
The first time they won.
Yeah.
Wow.
They were a 6 seed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, and they went on to beat the Knicks. I mean, John Stark, Patrick Ewing. It was a crazy series. And then obviously next year they swept the Orlando Magic. Sorry, Shaq, we love you. That team was highly, highly talented, and we swept them. Rudy, man, what a cool and surreal moment just to sit there and talk to him.
Now you guys are going to golf with him.
Share
He's coming down to Houston.
Yeah.
Going to come see you.
We're stoked.
Yeah.
Going to go to Maddie's course.
We're
and
pumped.
do a little golfing with the Coin Shop podcast guys of Houston.
Yeah, we're excited. I know I don't look excited right now, but I am.
Yeah. Super excited.
It's too bad your dad doesn't golf. He'd probably just like the moment knowing
Yeah,
you guys are out.
Yeah. No, we got to get Rudy to the shop.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got to get him to
absolutely.
meet old Pops.
He'll be on the podcast.
Dad would act like he wouldn't care, but I think he'd like to meet Rudy.
He'd like to see
Yeah.
that happen.
Yeah.
Rudy has a championship mindset.
And he's a good
That's right.
soul.
You can-
he's
you
a
can
very good
Championship
soul.
mindset.
You could tell that when you're with Rudy, you know he's a good soul.
Yeah, you can.
And he's definitely that.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you for all your support.
No, it would do it a million times over.
Yep.
It's definitely a cool foundation. Like I said, you can tell the people there that they were dedicated to great video they put together. Just like a very, like it wasn't some drawn out long thing. It was nice and quick to the point. Got right to where the work is being done. Right? Because when it comes to foundations and things, you're like, okay, who's doing the work? Where's the work? When you saw all the people there actually doing the work, that to me makes you feel pretty comfortable, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of sweat equity in that room. That's not like, there is no payroll.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. It's all sweat equity.
Right. No,
Including Andrea, who literally, has gone to Asia, I don't know how many times around the world, many, many places for surgical operations. It's real sweat equity. And it's, it's not the Four Seasons and the Ritz-Carlton when you get there either. It's 18 days of, helping kids. It's about helping kids.
Right.
Yeah. Well, cool. All right. Well, thanks again. I'm glad to be a part of it. Let's go into some of the coin shop stuff. So, a little bit of stuff to catch up with. I hadn't been around the counter a lot.
Yep.
Again, we've been kind of in the back formulating and just working on some other projects. There have been some cool buys come through.
Yeah, there has been.
Yeah.
And I actually have one of them right here.
Yeah, let's do it.
So here I have this 1922 $100 gold certificate. The very interesting part of this gold certificate is that it's a replacement note.
Nice.
Star note.
So when you say replacement note, does it mean the one they printed wasn't acceptable, and so they placed that in there?
Yep.
Because these are all monetized notes when they're making a sheet of notes.
Sure. So after that they put the star on there, showing that it's a replacement note, and only 30 of them known.
Really?
Only 30 of them known.
Really? Let me see.
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool.
30 of them known.
Under 30 of that Freeburg.
No comments, just a nice, even, clean note.
And so how much would that sell for, Matt?
Yeah. So a note like that trades for around $11,500. We're actually it's going to be on uscoinsandjewelry.com for sale.
Sounds like a great value. Sounds like a great value to me. $11,000.
Yeah. That's some of the cool things about currency. You get into those low populations, and you can buy in for pretty good price points for how rare they are.
Does that fall under our buyback guarantee?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't think
100%.
most people would realize. People today really just don't get the fact of how our money at one time was backed by gold.
Yeah.
And where it actually said it on the notes.
Yeah, it said on and same thing with the silver. Here's a silver certificate, $100, 1880.
That's pretty cool.
This is a really cool note.
I like how PCGS. I like the way that their holder faces up.
Oh yeah, I do too. They come with the protective little plastic part that rips off both sides, keeps the note from the holder from getting scratched.
Man, this note is amazing.
So this one says to be paid in silver.
That's to be paid in silver. It says silver certificate on the back.
Show that guy off a little bit.
Yeah.
So how much is that note, Matt?
This note this black back is a $120,000 is what we have it listed for on our website.
And how many do you think are known? Any idea?
Just, notes like this, there's a handful of known. There's not many.
Well, really nice XF too.
Yeah, it actually is. It's a really nice note. No problems.
Again,
just
big fan
nice,
of the PCGS banknote. Just, the way that they.
Yeah, shout out to Joe Pelago.
Yeah, shout out to Joe. Joe's been pretty awesome to work with.
Yeah.
Big fan of Joe.
Yep.
This is beautiful.
Yeah, that is nice. It just has it faces up nice.
I really like the fact how they printed it on the back. And most people.
Now, are there different ink variations of that? Because you say black back. Is there?
No, it's just the.
That's what it's
term
called.
that
okay.
it's
kind of slang.
There's
for it.
different. Yeah,
that's what's great
I'm
about
not a big
small
paper
collectibles
guy.
like currency and coins. $120,000. It's pretty.
Yeah, it's a small storage of cash, right?
Right. It's or carry around or to conceal. It's $120,000 you said for it.
Yeah,
it's a great piece.
Sweet.
Yeah, another note. We bought some cool notes in the last year. Some, one of two, some one of five. But really, what I've seen, even the $5,000 notes or $2,500 notes to the $100,000 notes. I mean, they're all very neat to look at.
Yeah.
A lot of really cool art, and love the older styles and the size of the bills.
No doubt.
Just don't get that today. You know?
No,
So that's where you get a lot of collectors that just have to have some of these series.
They like the art. They like the size. Yeah, it just looks
The history, it just very cool. So
back when our government wasn't so lazy. I mean, look at it.
no, it's pretty.
I mean, here. I mean, show the
This is a big one.
show the other 20 to the left right there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, dude.
beautiful reverse.
Golly. I mean, such a great.
Even the portrait alone, the way they did it, is
portrait.
gorgeous.
I mean, just the seals. Yeah, obviously the
Yeah, the
reverse
scrolling
is-
on the seals, which originally was all hand done in the metal.
dude.
You know,
beautiful.
It's crazy.
So cool.
Yeah,
And those
70K.
those metal plates and the detail they did then, it was just phenomenal.
oh yeah. Same thing. No comments.
Another
I like
just nice
like
fresh
notes
note.
with no comment. Yeah,
Cool.
I like placing them and buying them back. And
So we brought some counterfeits on last time, and it was funny because after that, I got back to my desk and someone dropped an album on my desk that I just happened to kind of peek around through, and I looked at it was a Barber Half album, and the very first thing I do is go and look to see if the P mints, the teen date P mints that are $80 to $100 and so on and up, and to see if they're real and not etched off S's and D's.
Sure.
And it's more just to kind of test my guys to make sure they're looking and not just flipping, because it's easy to flip through an album, but we're busy, stores stacked up, people are kind of waiting, you're trying to trudge through a deal, and you just look at the 14 slot and flip it over and it doesn't have a mint mark, and you just keep going. You figure it for, $75 or whatever it is you figure it for.
Yeah.
And I'm always looking for a reason to bust their balls, right? Just to say, he's
Catch
like,
the guys on the counter
And-
sleeping at the wheel.
and let me
Yep.
tell you, this album had all three altered.
Payment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you
Into
should be able to tell right from off of that. Some the obverses tell the story on a lot of them, but yeah, this one was
So you got 14p.
14p and
15.
then in the 15. Yeah, I thought there was a 13. Paul, I thought we had a 13 here. But we'll show better pictures and better close-ups. But it's just as simple as engraving a mint mark off the back. I don't know how, man, this is not my.
Well, it's all part of keeping on your toes in the coin shop.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's just
it's constant.
it's easy because these coins, a lot of times they're VG less. So they kind of have a worn down appearance, and
Nobody's going to look closer on the lower grade pieces.
It's not too expensive where
You know?
where someone's gonna
right.
really like take the
Couldn't
second,
pull it
get the
off if it
loop
was
out,
AU or 63.
you know,
Yeah.
check a diagnostic. Or,
I knew there was a 13 that had a little more of a. I gotta let me see your loop right there, please. I can't determine whether or not this actually. Are you sure this coin's bad? This coin. I mean, there was a couple that were very pronounced that didn't look as hard. To kind
Paul's got a whole inventory of counterfeits back here.
No, this definitely has movement, metal movement. So we'll set a couple aside and just show you guys. I'm sure that most of you are
aware of it.
most of the dealers are, but maybe for on the consumer side of things, when you're buying an album, make sure you look at those because those are just kind of low hanging fruit, 50, 60, $100 bill mistakes that some dealers might make in haste.
Sure.
Right, and it's just
don't
it's
take
smart to
everyone's
look
word
at.
for it. Just
No, I
get out
mean,
there and try to learn something about it, and
Yeah,
you're gonna spend the money on it.
no doubt.
Yeah,
But
but deal with reputable people, obviously.
right.
Reputable dealers.
Yeah,
So that's,
no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, that goes kind of back to the whole
Right.
like round table thing too, like we were talking about before.
Who you're dealing with.
Try to find the round table dealer closest to you. Again, because if something happens,
Yeah.
I got a
You
feeling
got recourse.
Yeah, there's some recourse. Rob.
Yeah. Shout out to Rob.
Shout out to Rob. I love Rob, man. That guy gets.
Good guy.
I just like how he just gets right on the subject and just stays on it. And I've just never met a guy who will just get so straight to the point and not even break a facial expression. Just like, Why would you do that? That was a stupid idea.
Well, Rob also realizes
See,
that the longer he takes to make decisions on taking care of a problem, bigger the problem becomes.
Sure.
It becomes uglier.
It grows.
Yeah.
Right?
You're right. It multiplies.
It just
It
multiplies.
morphs into a bigger issue.
There's actually
he's a nip it in the butt kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, very quickly. There's actually a deal going on right now where they're, I don't know, maybe I could talk about this. It's not a big deal. Wade Spencer, our Wade, little Wade's trying to get into coin dealers, helping coin dealers right now.
Okay.
Yeah, and some people.
Is it questioning his age? He's telling everybody he's 18. He's really 36.
No, he's not. It's just at the end of the day, as great as Wade is, and as much as he's accomplished, and as much as he's learned and kind of learned under us, and kind of worked with us and under us, he still is 15 years old.
Yeah.
And the comfort level of some of the older guys, is legally we can't do business with him.
Yeah.
Now we do because we understand the structure of his company. We know his parents are backing it.
Yeah.
We know that it's coming from a good place, and there's some
support behind him.
Exactly.
There's adult supervision on his business.
Correct. But so Rob actually put a message out in the owners only portion of the group and asked if there would be any objections. And last time I looked at it, I think there was like 70 something comments.
Oh, wow.
And where I had to basically go out and say, listen, obviously I'll back it.
Yeah.
I'll back the kid. Now, I started thinking about it more and more. I mean, it's like I'll back the kid up to a point to where when he's doing business with us. If he goes out, rogue or something, obviously, then I'll put that back out there as well. But let's also remember the kid is 15 years old.
Yeah. He's
15 years old, right?
Right.
I know, the stories of Jack Hertzberg, Mark Kranz, Greg Rowan. There's plenty of, I think even, Menschel there's a couple of guys who really started out very early in this business.
Well, you named some of the key ones.
Yeah. And have gone on to have storied careers and great careers and ups and downs.
And somebody gave him a chance.
And so, I like it, but I also know Wade very personally. I mean, I was the first person he talked to when he came in, and he was literally 9 or 10 years old. Mm-hmm. Right, with his dad, and his dad really supported him, and I think he's made some huge strides in the business. And
he's just way ahead of the curve of most 15-year-olds.
It would be a shame, for him. But I told him, you don't need the group. If they don't let you in, who cares? He goes to all the major coin shows, has a checkbook, does business with all of the major dealers. So
he doesn't need online group.
If there's a couple old hats that don't want him in there, who cares?
Yeah.
Kick rocks.
Keep doing what you're doing, Wade.
I just told him, I said, listen, I'll stick up for you. I'll back you. If they let you in, amazing. If not, who cares? You keep doing what you're doing. You're doing fine.
That's right. And 16 will change a lot of things too. There are work permit at that age too.
Yeah. I think, and again, and I can't completely just, lambaste some of these guys for not getting on board, because it does not make a lot of sense to them. They're sitting from afar. They don't know Wade. They've never seen him at a coin show. They've never seen him hustle from table to table.
Yeah.
So they're like, the kid's not 18. It's not legal in my state to sell a minor, to buy from a minor, which it's not. It's just not. The law is the law. You cannot buy from a minor. I don't give a crap how many people he has behind him. So I think that in those terms, those guys do have a point. Now, whether they want to take into consideration that he does work with us, and transact a lot of business with a very reputable company that's been around for a long time, that has done everything they've always said they're going to do, and will continue to do so.
He's just another arm of that.
That's how I see it. But whatever,
But 70 comments to me sound like. You got probably some Monday morning quarterbacking going on too, where it's just to make a comment. Yeah. It's I always say, what I don't know, I don't know. Yeah. And there's a lot of people I'm sure that commented that, like you said, never met Wade.
No, there's
a
few people,
they don't know when they haven't met Wade.
Yeah.
They don't know the whole circumstance.
A few people stepped out there and said, call a lawyer, and I was like, okay, we're getting a little out of.
I saw you picking up your phone. I thought you were gonna list a couple.
No,
I'm just kidding.
No, it's just when he's like, call a lawyer, like, okay, all right, well, let's we already know the lawyer
taking this too far now.
Yeah, well, I think we might have gotten a little, we started getting into the weeds here a little bit. Yeah, if you're gonna call a lawyer about it, then
just say no.
You already know what the lawyer's gonna say.
Yeah.
If you can't do it, you can't do it.
Exactly.
So anyway, good luck, Wade. Hope that you
Don't give up, Wade. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing fabulous.
No, Wade's going to be fine regardless of Coin Dealers helping Coin Dealers. I just think it's a good venue for him. I think there's a lot of good people in there, good dealers, guys who have not gone bad. Right? Guys who have who stayed good and done their deals. We've done a lot of business in there, and everybody's done exactly what they needed to do. So,
do what they say they're going to do.
Yeah.
It's important.
Super huge on that. Yeah. We were talking a little bit about scamming the weekend. I think we're having some issues because we haven't had a lot of people try to scam us. But we kind of pivot into a security. So if one thing that we always try to be more proactive than reactive is with security. And that's if not.
I like the sniper on the building when I show up. That's a smart. That's a real deterrent.
You saw that.
That's a real. Well, I actually saw him. Most people may not see him. Wow. I think it's a great deterrent at U.S. Coins to have that sniper.
It's wild. You looked up and
with
saw
as many cameras as we have and as
his
many.
His nickname is AK, isn't it? Or AR.
Okay.
One thing we did do is we added a camera in the front door and a monitor. So now, like literally, when you walk in the door in the first vestibule, you're on candy camera.
You're on television.
And it's not some gradient or granule or far away. It's like
it's a 30 inch or something.
Yeah, your face is blown up on the big screen, and it's we're going to continue in this climate to be proactive on security.
Yeah, and we also did the driver's license.
We've got the driver's license hole now, so like before you walk in, you drop your driver's license in the slot. It captures an image of it. You don't want to show it, you don't come in the door. Plain and simple.
Non-criminals don't mind showing off their ID.
Not at all.
Yeah, it's like I'll just do it. Here you go, and then you walk in. That's it.
It's for their safety and yours.
Yeah, in the jewelry buildings, you have to do the same thing, right?
No. Listen,
I've always done that. It's not
you got a cop down there asking you for it. They're not letting you up, regardless.
No,
you don't show it. You don't come upstairs.
Yeah,
it's pretty simple. So we kind of stole that idea.
Yeah, you got to protect your employees too.
You got to protect your employees, protect your customers,
and the customers.
Yeah, customers first. Honestly, I mean, the employees we have our own in-house kind of way that we're going to handle a situation. But it's the customers that we have to protect, almost more because they're trusting us to provide them a safe place, a safe haven to do business.
Sure.
Right. So we have to, around the clock, be studious and proactive in, bringing in different ways to be safe.
Yeah. Giving them that service.
Yes.
Right? That comes with the whole roll out the red carpet.
Protecting them, give them privacy, give them a safe place and a safe haven to do some, to do contract business and, done. So anyway, that's kind of like instead of doing a scam of the week, we kind of just did, that's our security update of the week. That's kind of what we've been working on for the last couple of days. And, one thing we were talking about earlier too, with you is that we've had you on, we've kind of gone over some of the grading rooms and, the PCGS grading room, the NGC grading room. We didn't touch on the ANACS grading room so much, but one thing we didn't do is figure out, how did you get to Texas? So how do you...
Southwest Airlines.
Let's put those points together. Let's try to figure out a little more.
Well, for years living in Southern California, working at PCGS, I always read information about this great city in Texas called Austin.
Yeah.
And I was always inquisitive about it, thinking, I've got to read more and find out more. And it wasn't until 2004 that I had the opportunity to go to Austin. I went there and negotiated a contract with
ANACS?
No, I didn't. In 2004 was the first time I ever went to Austin. And I negotiated a contract with Lance Armstrong and his attorney. And I was doing an autograph coin program with, at the time, in 2004, Lance was the multi-champion Tour de France winner.
Yeah.
And he signed the agreement on the eve of his last, quote, championship run at that time. We all know what happened later with Lance, and that's a whole other story, but where he was stripped of those awards. But I went to Austin in 2004, and I called my wife and I said, this city's pretty fabulous. Yeah. And I haven't even seen outside of town yet. And subsequently, later when we did move to Austin, we live outside the city limits. But it wasn't until 2005 came along where Whitman Publishing bought ANAX in Dublin, Ohio, the grading service. I had worked at ANAX when it was owned by the ANA back in 1984 as a 19-year-old, as my first job after dropping out of college, leaving home. Yeah. So it was kind of an interesting phone call to get. Was an opportunity to come and become the vice chairman of ANAX in Ohio. And they said, yeah, we're not keeping it in Ohio. And I said, well, good, I'm not going to live in Ohio. They said, we're going to Colorado. And I said, well, I've lived in Colorado before. It's a lovely place. But at this point in my life, I don't want to live in Colorado again. Yeah. And they said, well, where is it you want to live? And I said, I want to live in Austin, Texas. And, after, I'll say it felt like months, but it was like weeks of discussing the whole circumstances of it. Whitman Publishing hired me to come and be vice chairman of ANAX, move it from Dublin, Ohio to Austin, Texas.
Wow.
And so
I didn't know that.
I got my dream fulfilled of, where I wanted to live. And, a lot of people later, because after about a year, I left ANAX and PCGS wanted me back. So I went back to ANAX. That's a whole nother long story, but it was.
I do want to get into that.
Well, it's pretty deep.
Really?
It's pretty deep.
Can we talk about it?
We'll talk about it.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it. Maybe in another podcast, we'll talk about it deeper.
Hey, yep. Version 4 with Miles coming up. So,
but it's really, everybody thought, well, Miles made a mistake. He left PCGS. He went to work for ANAX. No, me leaving PCGS in 2005, getting to Austin, restructuring ANAX, kind of dusting it off. It'd been a kind of a business stuck in its place for a long time, and changing it. Ended up giving me my best life possible because I wanted to live in Texas. And you guys know that since you've really gotten to know me. I'm a Texas guy. I love it here and love Texas Hill Country so much. And my wife and I have fallen in love with
it's beautiful.
All of Texas Hill Country.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So, but that's how I got to Austin, Texas, in a roundabout way, if you think about it. But it was my greatest move career-wise of my life.
So you went back to PCGS
for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
I went back. I left ANAX.
Yeah. Went back.
Stayed living where I live.
Okay.
Yep.
Went back to PCGS for 10 years.
What role did you go back to PCGS?
I was vice president of PCGS, handled all the, the show grading, all the bulk coin grading, business development type stuff.
Cool.
Which is really what I left.
Yeah.
Did that for 10 years. A lot of people understand, well, why did that last? Well, I went through like 2 different presidents of PCGS,
who was it? It was,
well, you had Ron Guth, he stepped down, and then Don Willis came in and I left, and then Don Willis and David got fired, and I was at NGC while all that was going on. But after I'd moved on from PCGS, a lot of things happened behind me. It was kind of like last man out of town. I was glad to be first. But no, it was just NGC offered me an opportunity. It was a 5-year agreement. I ended up staying 6. And I did a lot of things at NGC that they weren't doing. It's a grading company that really wasn't doing any autographs with coins, which is one of my passions. And that's, one of the, it's the biggest autograph coin program going in the grading business. Yeah. But that was my bread and butter of what I like to do. And I knew how to put together the pieces, and NGC wanted me to come in and do that. Subsequently, it helped, elevate the value of the company. And of course, in 2021, it sold to Blackstone, and come the fall of 2021, I was just getting to a spot in life where a lot of the things that I was doing, I've done before, and wanted to do some things differently.
Sure.
And I had a nice quiet departure from NGC, and went terrifically smooth. And now I'm doing various consulting projects and doing what I enjoy to do. And I got Texas Hill Country in Texas.
Yeah.
But really interesting. It started with Lance Armstrong. That one little visit opened the door of a little bit of information, from a Midwestern guy that grew up in Michigan originally. I wanted to get back to the Midwest, but I didn't want the super cold.
Sure.
And I don't mind the super hot.
Yeah.
And I got that, and a little bit of cold every now and then. But
did the Lance Armstrong coin ever kick off?
Lance Armstrong, the biggest problem with Lance Armstrong was we never designed an actual Lance coin.
Okay.
We did a French Monnaie de Paris. I said that pretty good, if you don't mind me saying that.
Yeah, that's
I'm a
good.
golfer too, by the way.
Hey,
Yeah,
I heard that.
Yeah, I heard that.
You are a good golfer.
I think you rubbed it in my face the other night, if I remember correctly.
That's brutal. I was only teasing.
No, you did though.
Yeah, but
Well, Blake and I thought differently. Okay.
We're gonna
You
see
took
this.
it wrong. Blake laughed.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the judge of it.
Yeah.
We're gonna get out there with Rudy.
I don't think
we'll
he
see
thinks.
who.
I am faster than I look.
Yeah.
All right.
You need somebody to bust on you.
Oh man.
You got everybody being gentle and nice to you. It's like, no, I got to be the guy that shows up for podcasts and just reams on him.
That's awesome.
He loves it, can't you tell?
He loves it.
But no, Monnaie de Paris made a sprock coin where you would put multiple coins together and it would make a sprock.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Well, every one was signed by Lance.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And my knowledge in working with the world mints, I was just, I was still at the learning stages in 2004. That's, 10 years ago.
No. 2004.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Yeah, what I know today, obviously I could have done even better things then. The other hitch to that whole project was Lance. Lance thought he was pretty special.
Yeah.
And Lance didn't make enough time to sign autographs. And if you can't get the autographs, you can't do the project.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And at the time, he was my highest paid autograph signer that I'd ever had in 2004.
What a nut. So can you tell us how much?
Well, it's like when you go to the ATM machine, what comes out? Per.
Yeah.
Per.
Oh, your max?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the max. No, those $20 bills come flying out.
Yeah, I know. It's about 15 of them, right?
My ATM only puts out $20 bills. I don't know about yours, but
I haven't used the ATM machine in 10 years.
Yeah.
I used one last night because I'm on the road without any money, and it's like, I should have some cash.
Yeah.
Traveling internationally, and I didn't have any U.S. currency, but
dude, that is
no, Lance really wasn't available.
really.
Yeah, and the one time I signed with him on a private jet, that was like the one time I could get him to sign, had him captivated on a private jet. But after that, he was just,
Well, he had Nike. He had
the U.S. Post Office.
Yeah.
And he's looking, he says, and I got Miles Standish. It's like, how's this happen? I said, because it's a good deal for you.
Yeah.
I remember when they said, when I made an offer to him about the autograph fee, it's like, well, he's as big as Muhammad Ali and Michael Jordan. I said, you know what? He is as big as those two guys. Problem is he can't throw a left hook or hit a 20-foot jumper.
Nope.
And that was the difference between a bicyclist and a boxer
I was gonna say,
and a basketball
Yeah,
shoe.
you ride bikes.
And the attorney looked at me and he goes, yeah, okay. And it was like the attorneys are negotiating for Lance.
I bet you Lance will sign some autographs now.
He would sign them all till the cows came home. And what I was paying him then? Oh, till the cows came home.
Oh, man.
Oh,
what a story.
But, it started with Lance. It ended, ANAX was part about, I'm really glad I always stuck to my guns when ANAX wanted to hire me. That the piece to the puzzle was, my wife and I only want to, if we're going to leave Southern California, we're going to go to Texas. We're going to live in Austin. And, I did the same thing with NGC. Part of my, my agreement with NGC and my contract
Texas.
was I never have to move to Florida. And they tried later, but it was like, no, I'm only living in Texas.
Yeah.
And I've always been grateful that I did.
Yeah.
There is something about it that has been very captivating for us both. I think through the pandemic, all the people that always wondered why I left California really started to understand me a whole lot better.
No doubt.
Yeah, for sure.
We knew it even before 2020, but 2020 and beyond, the way Texas worked out socially, this was really a free haven here.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a super spreader. it was a free haven of your rights in this country. Your First Amendment, your Second Amendment, were really kept in this state, and everybody understood why we lived in Texas now.
Yeah.
And I'm just so blessed, and my wife is too, that we're here.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad he's here.
Yeah, I get
super,
2 hours
super
and
glad you're
44 minutes. I could be on the podcast.
Yeah.
That's right.
We're off a plane internationally in Houston.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, Houston's a pretty cool hub for all that stuff.
Yeah.
Especially the Coin Shop podcast.
So, the coin business, especially in the grading business, there's more opportunities in it than most people think. But, there's a lot to that story there of what goes on with people that know how to grade and market,
Yeah.
And I'm having more fun now than I've ever had professionally in my career after all these years. This is the most fun time right now, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, sweet.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that we could be a part of it, and
Absolutely.
it's awesome. So how about a grading tip or two?
We were talking about it earlier. Lighting and magnification. I think coin dealers, including yourselves, you guys don't require that like a coin grader does. You buy so much stuff. You've never tried to do the adjustment to like the atmosphere of the coin grading room to look at a coin.
Right.
You just get out there and do it. In a coin shop.
Yeah.
You buy coins.
You have to.
Where me, I'm so susceptible of like, okay, well, the neon or the fluorescent lights need to be off. The window shades need to be closed. I need it as dark as possible.
Yeah.
But that's just.
Yeah. You got to get in the zone.
Yeah. For me to properly look at and grade a coin, I need to have the right lighting, right atmosphere. I'm not telling anybody what's better over what I do, or what's not as good as what I do. It's just, I have to have the right lighting, and magnification. It's an overtold story. It's nice to look at an altered coin like we were looking at earlier with an altered coin.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, most coins that just need to be graded, and they don't need magnification. And that's just me, but I always recommend do with what's comfortable for you. But I think that, in my career of grading over 35 plus years, 90+% is without a loop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the other 10% that you might have to look at something closer.
Yeah. It's funny, this is completely offbeat. But this is something that actually somebody brought up to me the other day, and they asked me the question, and I know the answer from my gut and from my experience in grading, but rim bumps and rim gouges. And so, when as a grader does the rim bump become a details coin versus a non-details coin? And is it subjective, or is there a is it
a placement?
Well, I would say more, is there a boundary? Is there like hey, if it gets into the coin, obviously I think if it gets into the coin, into the actual, out of the rim and into the coin, it's obviously an issue.
Yeah.
But,
Well, generally speaking, people in the grading room like to grade a coin right. And I'll just tell you the first thing that came to mind when you were saying a rim bump, because I can still remember somebody saying this, like, the coin is really great. The gasket will cover up the little rim bump. And I mean that, I try to be honest when I'm on this show. It's like, that's a real life experience.
Yeah.
Sure.
Honest in the sense of being genuine about it.
Yeah, 'cause some
people think that way.
Yeah.
Obviously, the grading room, we're talking vintage coins. Obviously, we're not talking
vintage
modern coins.
Right.
The grading services, a lot of really horrible rim bumps, they seem to get weeded out. But I mean, they still get them.
Yeah.
Sure.
And there's probably usually, if it's got a huge rim bump, there's probably something else wrong with it too.
Yeah.
Honestly, something else happened in the process of getting the rim bump.
Of course.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like, I know it is considered the third side to the coin,
Right.
but I'll give a lot of room to a minor rim bump. Horrible's horrible. If it's really horrible, it's probably a no grade. If it's horrible, it definitely needs to get downgraded.
Yeah.
All right. There isn't. I didn't give you an answer there, but it isn't, because it can't be written.
Well, you kind of gave us 3. I mean, obviously it's a no grade, then maybe a net grade.
Yeah.
Okay. Which,
maybe it knocks a nice a 5 coin into a 4, or 4 to a 3.
Yeah.
As the grade goes down, it matters less.
Okay.
Right.
You follow me?
Yeah.
The grade goes up, the matters more.
Of
Yes, you'll
course.
see VX
You know?
that might have a.
It's amazing
something on the
though how many
back.
great 68
Refers.
coins. I mean, like really great 68 coins never have that rim bump problem to even consider.
Yeah.
It's just amazing how that happens.
No, you don't.
Right.
Like I said, something usually happens. If it's got a horrible rim bump, something else happened to deter that grade.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know.
Cool. It's funny because someone asked me that the other day, and like they really wanted they wanted a real like, hey, you run one of the, you run a pretty big coin shop, dude. You should have this answer. And I'm like, honestly, for me, it's more gut. Like if my gut tells me that's going to be a problem based on my experience, then I buy it like that's going to be a problem. Mm-hmm. And
a lot of what I told you is gut too.
yeah,
I get it.
you just kind of look at it, you're like, okay, that's just too much.
Yeah.
It's just
Well, you see a coin, you'll buy in the store, and I'll grade that all day.
But it's
It'll
funny.
grade all day.
It's funny to hear how other people think of it. Like, oh my God, look at the rim bump, and I'm looking, I'm like, that's nothing.
It's like a little
that's-
turn of metal. Yeah, it's not.
Well, I mean,
Right.
but the metal's turned. I
Yeah.
mean, to me, depending on if it's
I'd much rather have to deal with a scratch or a wheel mark.
Yeah.
Counting wheel mark on a Walking Liberty half. Or
well, which you see a lot, and it's crazy how many get through, and then it's crazy to see how many they.
and the only reason they get through is somebody didn't tilt it. They didn't look at it.
Yeah, they didn't
looked
tilt
at it too fast. They just didn't tilt it. You really
probably a
to really
bulk, bulk submission.
Yeah, to catch a wheel mark, you really have to turn it into the light properly.
You have to turn it on.
And walkers, it's amazing. More walkers got wheel marks in the history of coins than any other coin there is.
Sorry.
I guess it was the 1940s that, they did a lot of counting machine marks.
Yeah. 42, 43, 44,
Yeah,
45,
it's
you
interesting
see
what day those
tons
P
of-
meant.
yeah.
The 40 dates
P months,
especially.
yeah.
But they have a finish to them.
Yeah.
You see that finish, you already know.
Well, it's the luster that gets interrupted that throws it off real quick, and then when you roll it, then you can see the corresponding wheel mark there.
I have seen Walking Liberty half dollars with such a severe wheel mark. There's like pores in that wheel mark. They'll be black, and somebody asks, "What's the black?" I go, "That's the actual black wheel on the counter."
Yeah, say dug it in the counter.
Dug in
counter
there.
wheel. And you guys know that because you probably got one of those machines.
We
Dug
do.
in there,
Yeah, you know what it is. I've actually seen the black wheel on a 1940s Walker.
Oh, well, I'll tell you guys a blunder as we finish up this podcast. I walked into an intern, and I'm not going to say his name because he still works for us, running 90% halves that were BU.
Like Kennedy's or Franklin's. He was running them through the counting
Walkers.
machine. Oh!
Yeah.
Walkers.
Ooh.
Yes, Walkers.
Through the counting machine.
Yes. Now, they were not all BU, but we had poured someone, I say we, I had nothing to do with it. Someone dumped a bin of a new purchase into the 90 bin that didn't know any better, had no business working in the back at the time. Mm-hmm. And when we asked somebody to count up all the 90% halves, they just counted up all the 90% halves.
Sure.
Dumped the bin.
The walkers got
Some
dumped
people
in
do
there.
really well at doing what they're told to do.
And I think after I reconstructed it, it was a 45S roll, a 46S roll, a 43D roll. There was 100 coins. But they were somewhat. I mean,
It was 5 rolls of special.
they weren't your 43s, 44s, and 45s. There's some mint marks on those
That was
bad boys.
probably
I
one of
was
the biggest mistakes. Not as sick as you were with the sticker removal.
Oh, the CAC sticker removal. Oh my God.
Catch stickers on holders.
Do we want to tell the story?
Yeah,
Was
so
somebody decided
let's
to
do
get
it
their
real quick.
Windex?
No. So this is like back when we were first retaking over U.S. coins and jewelry, and we started bringing in some of our own guys that we liked and trusted, and I sat an individual at the table. I won't say his name because he does still work for us. Normally, when people work for us, they work for us for a long time. I said, take all the stickers off of these coins, and they were white.
Yeah, cost stickers
Your
on
white
the back.
cost stickers
On the back, probably?
No, I mean, just on the front. I mean, they were just your basic, 2200, 2100. It was a batch. It was 20. There were 20 libs and 2 and 3. And at the time, they were trading around $2,100, $2,300 for CACs or whatever. So long story short, I'm looking at the pile and I see all these green stickers all over the table. I'm like, tell me that my eyes deceive me.
Yeah, you were in a trance.
This
couldn't have
guy
happened.
ripped off CAC stickers off of the coins, and he looked at me and he goes, "Yeah, these green ones are really, really
tough.
hard to get
Really
off."
hard to get off of there.
And I looked at him. I said, "Get out of here. Go to the front right now. He said, what? I said, just go to the front, please.
Lord.
I can't talk to you right now. We'll have to talk about this later.
It was like 25 of them or something. Or
Oh, no, it was 2 boxes.
There's a bunch.
There was probably 50 CAC stickers ripped off.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's something.
Oh, yeah. But
People take directions sometimes really well, but too well.
And that's exactly told. Well, you told me all stickers. I'm like, yeah, I'm just not going to even talk to you right now. It's going to be bad.
It was probably good to take a breath and get away from
it. That's the only way it could have worked out. But
life and times in the coin shop.
Yeah, listen, I mean, obviously no one else made that mistake. I was
sure. And we said we were over it.
Yeah. 6 years later, I'm not over it.
But we're not over it.
I'm still pissed. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up this episode of the Coin Shop Podcast. I want to thank Miles for coming again and being our awesome guest.
Thanks for having me in.
Appreciate you.
Did a little drive-by.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
ATX, back to ATX.
That's
back
right.
to ATX. And, we're glad you guys stayed with us. And thank you guys for all the support. UScoinsandjewelry.com, coinshoppodcast.com. Thank you.